Welcome back, everyone. I'm Setharoth, and today we are diving into the Imperious races of Skyrim. This is a great mod that overhauls one of the vanilla races in Skyrim, giving new quests, new abilities, and basically spicing things up no matter which race you prefer to play as. Now, courtesy of the Fenderic's Magic mod, I have this lovely little spell that's going to allow us to explore this in a little more detail, which actually allows you to in-game access the character creation menu. And I have, of course, the list on my other monitor of various abilities for each class. So in the Imperious race, if you start off as an Altmer, you have a couple very interesting enhancements. The first is called Elven Supremacy. Attaining level 100 in any skill increases the effectiveness of that skill by 10%. So if you run an Altmer character, when you get to 100, you become 10% more powerful in that skill, beyond what your standard character can attain to. As a drawback, however, they have a second ability, or effect I guess, because you don't really cause it, it just is always in effect, called Gold and Glass, where your magicka and stamina regenerate up to 100% faster when you are below half health. However, as your health drops, so does your regeneration, your armor, and your magic resist. So the more injured you are, the more vulnerable you are, but the faster you get your magicka and your stamina back. This is an interesting balance that it gives you with regards to mage or thief types that are trying to duck around and absorb damage, because you will get your stamina and magicka quicker, but if you do get hit, you will pay for it. Lastly, they also get an ability called Shimmering Threads, so that weapons and armor are 15% weaker, but their enchantments are 15% stronger, so it's very much tilted towards a spellcaster or thief and enchanter type build. Now, the Altmer race also gets a new quest line. Once you have picked 40 wings off of butterflies, because I guess, the High Elves aren't exactly the most benevolent people in Tamriel, you get a new ability called Contingency. At will, you can store your equipped spells into a magical matrix and cast them for free whenever a chosen condition is met. This is called Contingency. Now, if you ever played Dungeons & Dragons as a wizard, the Contingency spell is amazing. You can literally say, okay, when I'm immersed in a liquid, automatically cast water breathing, and boom, you're not drowning. You can use a similar effect here with the Altmer race, once you've plucked some butterfly wings, which I think is a very interesting take on the Altmer, and also brings in some elements from Dungeons & Dragons, of which I am a huge fan. Next, we have the option of becoming an Argonian. Argonians are... Okay, we're going to actually switch to Argonian so I can show you guys this little ability here. We'll call him Rex. Why not? Alright, Argonians have increased swim speed. How much increased, you ask? 100% faster speed when you're swimming. It's so cool, because, okay, now I need to find deeper water. Come on, get me some deeper water. I found a river so I could actually show off swimming. Why do I not have deep water? There we go. Alright, notice the increased swim speed. I have actually swam around subcontinents to get to quest items, instead of cutting through overland, because particularly if you're near the ocean, you can move so much faster. I think it's an awesome twist with using an Argonian character, because waterways become like travel points. Like they're all of these quests that are along waterways, you can immediately use these not just for travel, but if you're a stealth type or a mage type and you need to get away quickly, you can just swim away. Also, if you are using an Argonian and your skin is wet and you get out of the water, you get a couple interesting bonuses. Your sneak is 100% better for 60 seconds, and you move 15% faster for 180 seconds. So for stealth types in particular, the Argonians are now really favored. Also, if you look at my stamina when I'm sprinting, Argonians have... Well, I actually have this set up so that my local NPCs can have these races too, which can bite you in the butt when you're fighting Argonians. Wait for it. Wait for it. Watch the stamina. Watch the stamina. There it is. Boom, 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 boom. Your regeneration goes into overdrive whenever you're at low stamina, health, or magicka. So as you can see, if you're fighting an Argonian, for example, and you're a low level and you're not doing a whole lot of damage all at once, they'll just keep regenerating. Like, you have to hit them hard and fast or they just don't die. I think it's an interesting twist because not only does it help your character, well, let's face it, when you're playing Skyrim, basically everything can hit you hard enough to take out that last 10% no problem. But sometimes, depending on the strategy you're using, having an enemy that regenerates at 20% health can be really frustrating. So I think that's an interesting balance. Let's see, what else? They also breathe underwater, obviously, because they're amphibious. Their quest reward is you have to loot 4 underwater chests. Once you find and loot 4 underwater chests, you get an ability called Caustic Spit. Once per day, you can basically spit in your opponent's face. You reduce their armor by 600 points and their magic resistance by 75% for 25 seconds. So when that dragon comes up to face blast you with whatever element it wants, you can literally spit back and call it good. And I mean, a 500 point drop in armor will take out most creatures except maybe modded ones that are designed to just obliterate you. But that's a conversation for another mod. Alright, next on our little list, let's check out the Bossmer. Now, our Bossmers have an interesting... You know what? Yeah, this one I want to show off as well. Alright, the Bossmer can be nicknamed Boss. Let's see, what spells we got here. I'm going to have to go kill something. We got to find something to kill. Why am I walking? I don't know why I'm walking. Come on, sprint for me. Uh-oh. This is a problem. I do not know why I cannot sprint. Let me see if I can, let's see, enable player controls. Nope. Uh-oh. Okay, well, we will take a leisurely walk towards what I hope will be a hostile creature. I do not know why I'm unable to walk. I haven't actually used this character creation menu spell before, so it looks like it tweaks. Wait, I'm unable to... I have a burden issue? Oh, I forgot about this. So, an interesting thing about this mod is it actually changes the core abilities, like how much you can carry, for example, of each class. So your carry weight as an Argonian is 325, but your base carry weight as a Bossmer is only 275. So when I switched races, I actually switched to a race that couldn't carry the amount of loot that I'd stocked up. So that's kind of a cool thing, that all races are not created equal. Some have an inherent strength that others lack. And I think it's an interesting twist. They also tweak the amount of starting health, magicka, and stamina for each race. So you have to be conscious of the fact of whether the race you're starting has actually enough health for your particular play style or magicka or stamina. If you start as an orc, for example, you have like 40 magicka, so don't think you're going to be just diving into spellcasting. Why is it so hard to find a monster these days? Specifically a humanoid. Let's see. I need to find something humanoid that will try to eat my face. I think we might be able to find one in Helgen. This is one of the interesting... It's a recurring buff you can get as a Bossmer, but I want you guys to see it in person, you know? Let's see. Usually you can find a thief or two here, although I didn't have to... Oh, hello! There we go. Alright. Alright, so you hear the cry of my bird. I have a bird pet. Ah, yes. I forgot. I'm not using my, not using my armored character. I don't usually demonstrate stuff with my... Oh, oops. Okay. Well, that's going to take a little bit of... I should have saved right before I started recording. Alright, you guys are gonna get to look into my little magical bag of tricks. So I'll update you guys on the Bossmer while we fix what I just got killed trying to show off. So with the Bossmer, you can actually eat a humanoid corpse. So you can actually play as like a feral creature and then actually consume humanoids that you defeat. And you get I think it's like 10% of their stats. So if you eat like a bandit chief, you get their health and their stamina and their crappy magicka. But if you eat like an archmage's corpse, you get all the magicka. Like, it's pretty cool. You can kind of pick your victim and then pick your buff. and it lasts for 120 seconds. I do not know how many minutes are in 120 seconds. Is that 20 minutes? I think? Not sure. Anyway, so they also have a Harrier that marks an opponent and gives them an armor and magic resist debuff, so it makes it easier for you to slaughter your enemies. They also have Wild Stillness. Yes. When you stand still for 4 seconds while sneaking, actually I can demonstrate that right now. Stand still for 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and come on now. Don't leave me in the lurch. Well, actually, I'm not in Skyrim anymore, so that particular ability might not launch. This is where I got my character menu spell. It is from the Fenderic School of Magic, World of Magic, which has a lot of other stuff that I will not have time to demonstrate today, but a demonstration is coming. For the purpose of today's meeting, however, we're just going to grab one little spell. Where is my character? There you go. Character creation menu. Poof. Alright. Yeah, I guess you guys can consider this a little teaser for some other mod showcases to come. This showcase comes with at least 1,000 new spells, weapons, 15 quests. It's an entirely new subcontinent. It's huge. But I've only got about 10 minutes left, so we're just going to figure out the rest of these races. There we go. Teleport back to Skyrim. And voila! Bretons have this ability called Spell Mantle, which increases their magic resistance and their spell absorption when their magicka is unusually low. Also, you know those standing stones wandering around Skyrim? Yeah, every single one of those gives the Bretons a unique ability, or a unique buff. And you'll have to wander around Skyrim and figure out some of those yourself, because I don't have time to go through every single one of them. But their quest, once they've discovered 10 standing stones to unlock, allows them to steal one of the racial powers of a living target. So they can sneak up on the Argonian and steal that a massive amount of regeneration that we saw earlier. Next we'll look at the Dunmer. They have an awesome, they're very connected to their ancestors, right? So when you're wandering around, your ancestors will whisper to you of a humanoid target, usually a bandit, usually something that's not flagged as a friendly NPC. When you kill it, you gain spirit favor and bonus gold. As that spirit favor increases, once you've slayed 10 victims, then you can activate that spirit favor to summon 2 ancestors to help you in combat. Also, obviously, you get fire resistance as a Dunmer, which is very helpful, particularly if you're going to do a vampire or a werewolf playthrough, and you need some of that inherent resistance. Imperials have another interesting shtick as well. They have an ability called Discipline. In armed combat, any allies within 15 feet gain 150 armor and 15% attack damage. So they're very much for the core bonuses. Either you're enhancing your allies, or in combat, you regenerate a randomly selected attribute, health, magicka, or stamina, 100% faster until combat ends. And then also they have an ability called the Human Spirit. At level 10, 20, or 30, they may permanently change one of their attributes, resistances, or skills. So you they grow faster than other races because they get inherent buffs at levels 10, 20, and 30. Lastly, they have a quest. They have to help 20 people, 20 quests in Skyrim, and that unlocks the Colovian Star. They can invoke the Emperor to refill magicka and stamina and fortify them by the amount restored for 30 seconds. So if you wait until your magicka is at 10% and then activate this ability, not only will it bring all your magicka back, but it will give you an extra 90% magicka, the same amount that you healed back. So they can, if you use that carefully, you can double the amount of your stamina or magicka in a given fight. Khajiits are also awesome for stealth, as goes with tradition. They sprint 40% faster, but they burn through their stamina 15% faster. So you move quicker, but you run out of stamina faster. They can also do, actually I think I can actually show you this. We're going to name him Pounce, and you're about to see why.
so I can learn the merchant's trade.
So the nice thing about these guys is when they go into stealth and they try to jump, you can actually, it's like a pounce, like they go into midair and then all the way over. It makes it really interesting when you're doing a thief build, because I mean technically you can use this to jump from rooftop to rooftop, but it has a set distance, right? So you can overshoot like that. So it really adds to like their mobility, I guess, because I mean cats jump, always land on their feet. It does require some, I like it because it requires some practice to get used to, so it really adds to the playthrough because your character has this new ability that is not typical of most Skyrim characters. Also, you will have a spirit that will call you to slay beasts in the field, and once you slay 10 of those beasts, you can actually charm an animal to become not really your companion. They're an extra NPC that backs you up, so it'll actually stack on top of your usual follower limit, however many you have based on the mods that you have in play. So if you're doing vanilla, for example, and you can only have one follower, you can still get an animal companion to back you up. And yes, it has to be a carnivore. It's the nearest one to you, so you can walk up to that giant cave bear and make him your friend. And I think that stays for quite some time. But that's all I have time for. I can give you, let's see, oh, come on. Alright, on to the Nords. The Nords have the daughter or son of Skyrim, which is their Nordic blood, grants them 25% frost resistance. When they enter the Avatar state, which is their quest reward, that goes up to 50%. They also have a feature called the Purge. At levels 10, 20, and 30, they can choose a race. Weapons and spells are 33% more effective against that chosen race. Obviously, one of those choices would be High Elves if you're dealing with Altmer, because, yeah, Stormcloaks do not get along with Altmer at all. They also have an ability called Warrior's Heart. In combat, attack damage and elemental damage are increased by up to 40% based on missing health. Now, if you happen to be using some of the Apocalypse spells, those actually fortify you once you get under like half health, like they give you extra health and extra armor. So if you were to combine those with a Nord build, where you're doing extra damage when you're at low health, but you're also fortified at low health, so you're less likely to die, obviously those are very helpful. Now, in order to unlock their Avatar state, oh, sadly it's not as cool as the Avatar of the Last Airbender state, but their version of the Avatar state is unlocked by clearing 8 dungeons. Once you've cleared 8 dungeons, the Spirit of Shore inspires you, regenerating 10% of your total magicka and stamina per second for 30 seconds. So once per day, you can go into a fight with an insane amount of regeneration. Now, orcs have Bloodlust. When entering combat, they gain 25% movement speed and 300% magicka and stamina regeneration. These bonuses gradually decay to 0 over 20 seconds, so they're very much sprinters, right? You dive right into the fight, and for the first like 10 seconds, your magicka and stamina regen is just through the roof, which means you can now run like a mage build as an orc, because you start off with intense magicka regeneration, which I think is a great touch. They also have an ability called Shockwave. Once per battle, jump to cause a tremor that staggers opponents and may knock them off their feet. Wow, I could even use that as a mage. Run into a group, stomp on the ground, and knock them all down. That's cool. Strength of Steel is their next feature. Weapons and armor are 20% stronger, but enchantments on them are 20% weaker. So they're kind of the antithesis of the High Elves. Because remember, the High Elves got a lot of regeneration as they grew weaker, but their armor also got weaker as they lost health. And their enchantments were stronger, but their smithing was weaker. So it's kind of an interesting balance between the two races. For the Orcs, once you have staggered 150 enemies with Shockwave, you unlock an ability called Berserk. Once per day, you double your attack and critical strike damage, and half your spell cost for 15 seconds. While off cooldown, it may activate randomly in combat. Okay, that is cool. So Orcs can actually once per day or randomly in combat cut their spell cost in half and double their attack and critical attack damage. So really this could be a viable mage build. I might have to make a mage orc after this. This could be fun. This is cool. This is one of the things I like about Imperious mods, because it adds in more unique features to each race, and it kind of it changes the trajectory of each character for various playthroughs. Last but not least, let's have a look at the Red Guards. They have a feature called Dust Storm. Killing people increases attack damage and critical strike damage and reduces spell cost by 30% for 5 seconds. So the Red Guard actually rewards you for your kills. For the next 5 seconds, you have increased damage and reduced spell cost. Oh, so that could work for mages as well. Nice. They also have a feature called Nomadic Heritage. Red Guard blood grants 50% disease resistance. When not in combat, you also have unlimited stamina. I know disease resistance doesn't sound like much in the vanilla game, but I play with mods that bring in new creatures and dragons that deal disease damage, which the vanilla enchantments can't even protect you against. So for that reason, Red Guard actually can be very useful, because it actually protects you from some of the new stuff that mods would throw at you. Red Guards also have a feature called Tenacity. Magicka and stamina regenerate up to 100% faster based on missing health. So the more wounded you are, the faster you regenerate, which I think is really fitting for an adrenaline-fueled combative race. Lastly, in order to finish out their racial quest line, you have to win 30 battles by slaying 3 or more people. So you have to be outnumbered in order to progress towards their quest reward, which is a ability called Red Sand Dance. Enter a battle trance for 45 seconds, slowing time by 90% while sprinting. The while sprinting part confuses me a little bit. I don't know if that's meant to slow time while so you can close the distance, because it says specifically while sprinting. So I assume that the point of that is to slow time long enough for you to get in close to your enemies and then wail on them, which could be really helpful, particularly against mages that are throwing frost magic at you. So all of those could be very useful indeed. But I highly recommend the Imperious Races of Skyrim mod. It adds a lot to your playthroughs, a lot of variety to your various characters. And I guess we'll just call it Sky Omega for now. It will give you a lot of variety, a lot of different styles of play that you can get into as you unlock different character abilities. Every character has their own racial power and a separate quest to unlock. And if you combine those with the Andromeda Standing Stones mod, you can get dozens of combinations that can benefit various playstyles, whether you are magic, or thief, or melee, or even muggle. And yeah, muggle's coming in another playthrough as well, because playing as a non-magic user in Skyrim would obviously be challenging, and that is one of the things I'm going to be digging into on a later video. So I hope you guys will enjoy this video. Feel free to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments below, what is your preferred race to play and why? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Take care.